most important thing in business is honesty, integrity, hard work, family, never forgetting where we came from.
How's everybody doing out there? You are now rolling with the D. Literally, I was a show on wheels and now I'm a studio show. How's everybody doing? It is December 26th, the day after Christmas, and I'm committed to bringing you guys a show, even if it's the day after Christmas. I'm here because I want to make sure that we're all set up and we're in the right mindset as we move forward, getting ready to go into 2015, which hopefully is going to be the biggest year of your life. I know it's going to be the biggest year of my life. It's going to be the biggest year for my company, and I'm hoping it's going to be the same for you. So how is it going out there? How was your Christmas? Hopefully everybody had a great Christmas and you relaxed a little bit, spent some time with the family, all that kind of good stuff. What I wanted to talk to you guys today about is opportunities, because as I look at the holidays and I talk about this with my team and my philosophy, I look at how I build my business as I build it in opportunity times. I want to talk to you a little bit about that today, and I want to talk about time in specific what we're doing with time, because time is a precious commodity. And then of course plans and momentum, what you have going on, what you had going on in 2014 and what you're going to have going on moving forward into 2015. And I want you to think about, as you're thinking about 2015, not missing any opportunities, because that's going to be the biggest, probably the single most, I guess you could say, hurdle or obstacle that's gonna be presented in your way and your journey, towards success and to your greatness, is going to be missed opportunities. I'm telling you, it's missed opportunities. And how do you get focused and you stay aware of missed opportunities? You have to be present. And you have to be present all the time. So I'm excited to share a little bit with you guys today. Hope everyone is doing great. If you're listening to us on the podcast, all of our podcasters out there, thanks for listening. Make sure you're leaving a review, leaving a rating in the iTunes store. That helps us get recognized. It helps get the content in front of other people that may be able to use it. Make sure you're sharing this information. If you're watching us live, thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch us live. And also, if you're watching this on a replay, make sure you're sharing this content, sharing the information with other people you think might be able to use it. Why do we do this show? Simply because I think that, especially in our industry, I'm a part of the beauty industry. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a beauty entrepreneur. But I think that there's definitely a missing link between what an entrepreneur is and how it relates to beauty and how it relates to you as an individual, as you're striving. Maybe you're building a business, building a brand, building a company, and I'm trying to connect those dots. So I've taken it upon myself to become the chairman of Beauty Entrepreneurs, the beauty industry's chairman, to lead that charge, to share ideas with you in this show. Literally, it did happen by accident. Me driving around, putting thousands of miles every month in the vehicle, and just start recording these little videos and leak some of them out, and thought they were getting listed as private, but they were actually public. And somebody stumbled upon them and said, "Hey, I like these videos. You have any more of these videos?" And next thing you know, I'm doing videos all the time in the car, and then it just kind of evolved into where I really wanted to take some more time and go deeper on some of those subjects and bring you the Rolling with the D daily show. So that's how this show came to be, and I'm committed to do it. We're creeping up on, a hundred or so episodes. So definitely lots of great content that you can go back and into the archives and check it out. If you're on our platform, if you come to the salon1.net, that's where all things digital exist. So you can read the blog, you can read other articles, you can check out the podcast, you can watch the live show there, you can check out some of the old episodes, you can go get in the car and take a ride when I had the Rolling with the D show on wheels. All of that's there at the Salon One. That's the number one.net. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for making the commitment. So what I really want to do is take a few moments with you guys today and talk to you about what is this past year, how has this past year worked out for you? I want you to start thinking about this past year, number one. I want you to start thinking about, what were some of the things that really worked? What were some of the things that totally kind of moved the needle and totally projected you into a new realm or into another level of achievement. So thinking about those things and reflect. You've got, when you think about right now, December 26th, right? We've got 5 days left. 5 days left in the year, and then 2014 is officially a wrap. Now I know some of you guys and some people, are out there and they're just like, oh God, I want to get out of this year. Right? I want to get out of this year because, to be straight with you guys and to give you some straight talk, you didn't show up every day. You didn't show up every day. You didn't bring your A game every day. So looking at this past year, it's kind of mediocre. It's a little wishy-washy, and you're not really like looking back when we start doing this review and reflect part. Over these next 5 days, which I'm recommending to you to do, you start looking back, and you're not super excited about what you see in the rear view. Because you see a lot of things I left on the table, a lot of opportunities that I missed, maybe a lot of things that I know I didn't put 120% into. Maybe I didn't bring my A game. I didn't go all in. I put my toe in it. And so as you start to look back, you got to be honest with yourself, though. When you take that year in review and you look at your progress report, you got to be honest with yourself. Because that's number one. Before you start getting into, like, my favorite training to do with my team, which is coming up right after the beginning of the year, is a goal setting workshop. We're going to spend 5 hours working on our visions, our dreams, our goals, and setting kind of, this is the menu for my year. Now, once you get to that point, if you skip this part, you're already kind of trying to work it backwards, and you're going to be a little bit behind the ball. So what I want you to think about is first taking a review. Let's do inventory on this past year, and let's look at, let's go through and list. And that's what I'm doing. I get up my notebook. I start going through and listing. Okay, this is what worked. This is what didn't work. This is why this worked. This is why this didn't work. These are the things I want to continue, and these are the things I need to ditch. I need to totally rethink. So I want you to start there. I want you to start with doing an inventory and taking a look at the past. Now, whatever that looks like for you. I mean, some of you guys might be on vacation right now. You took the rest of the year off. Maybe some of you are not. Maybe some of you are still out there on the hustle, on the grind every single day. But you need to take some time because you got 5 days. And I'm not gonna. I don't have time to do it. That's a BS excuse, right? And we got to get around that excuse, and we got to get to the reality. You have 5 days. What does that look like? I mean, do the math. You have 5 days, 24 hours a day. We're talking 120 hours total between now and the new year. Now, of course, you're going to sleep. You're probably going to, eat. You're probably going to, maybe you're working. So, take away, if you sleep 8 hours a day, maybe you work 8 hours a day, take away, that's what, 80 hours? Take away some of that. You still got 40 hours left on the table. If you work 8 hours a day, sleep 8 hours a day, you still got 40 hours of time between now and the end of the year to really do these exercises, to do the reflection, to look back at the year, to really, be honest with yourself. So you want to start thinking about those things, thinking about things that you thought actually move the needle. And as I look back and I look at my company and I'm looking at the year, what happened this year, there were certain things that did move the needle, certain things that didn't. And as an innovator, in my industry and in my company, I'm leading innovation, and leading collaboration. So we'll try anything. We have a real quick checklist I'll share with you guys. When we look at introducing any new idea, product, service, any new experience in our business, we look at this really quick and easy checklist, and I run it every single time, and it never fails me. I look at it has to be a win. You heard of the win-win. Well, I call it the win-win-win. So it has to be a win for the in our company, for the stylist or for the employee or for the team member. It has to be a win for the consumer or the guest or the customer or the client, and then it has to be a win for the business. So if it passes that test, we'll try it. We'll try any of those things. But in the course of that, we also know like some of those things may not work. So this is where you get honest. But you have to be totally honest. You can't be like, well, we tried this and it didn't work, but you gave a half-ass effort and you didn't really try it. So you still want to be 100% honest with when you say you tried something. Did you actually try it, or did you put 120% into it, or did you attempt it but never really got going? It's kind of like, you join the gym, but you never actually put in the time and the effort, but you pay. Well, I have a gym membership, but the gym didn't really work out for me because you never showed up. And there's a lot of that going on. Especially this time of the year, everyone's signing up for the gym because that's the number one thing that people always make those resolutions or commitments to, that by January 15 they abandon, is physical. Right? Physically, I'm going to get physically fit. I'm going to get physically focused. I'm going to change something physically about myself because we know the benefits. But then at the end of the year, now you start to look back. Well, I joined the gym, but I went, once a month, and so the results are mediocre. They're less than there are no results. So starting to be honest with yourself, and I want you to look at all those areas. So not only like I'm looking at my business, but I'm also looking at physically. Where I want to be, what worked that I was doing, what didn't work. Where are things that I want to continue to work on and stick with, and what things do I need to abandon or ditch right away. Moving in before I move into the new year. I'm not even starting 2015 until I do this. And then I want you to look at, other areas, when you start to look at your finances, you start to look at your relationships. I just had a training. We had our holiday party last week for the company, and we talked about inventory, taking an inventory of your immediate surroundings, your circle of influence, your circle of friends. And as you look at that circle, identifying, people that you need to count on, and then there's other people that you need to count out. So start to look at that too. Start to look at that inventory. Because there's going to be certain, people, certain places, and certain things that you definitely need to count out of your life. And you don't want to move. You don't want to start your 2015 with the same crap, with the same bad inventory around you. If you knew that, there's bad inventory, and you took a bad inventory, and then you move forward with that bad inventory, and you expected something different to come out of it, you're not gonna turn a dud into a stud. You're just not gonna do it. So start to take the inventory and take this time. Take this next 5 days. And when you think about time, I'm always thinking about like where opportunity lives, and it lives in people take down. If you ever watch the game of football, and you watch the players go out there and they line up. Not every player gives 100% on every single down. Maybe the last down they got their ass kicked a little bit, they got tossed around, so they come out the next down and they're physically there, but they don't have it all. And then they get beat off. They get beat. As soon as the ball hikes, they already get beat by that player, and the player just runs around him or just tosses him to the ground. So that happens. And that happens in life too, in business. That happens in relationships, when you don't give it all every single play. And the team that wins, usually the person that wins is that person that, they may have had some downs off, because every day is not going to be an amazing day. Okay, this is straight talk. That's not reality. You're not every day, I don't care who you are and how great it is. You might be Mark Zuckerberg, richest 30-year-old on the planet, one of the richest people in the world. You might be a champion player at this or that, or Usain Bolt right, fastest man on 2 feet running, Olympics. Nobody even stands a chance. Every day isn't a great running day for him. Every day, just because you're a billionaire, isn't a great day. People are human, right? Big aha. So you are human, just like I'm human. So the size of your bank account, the achievements that you have aren't going to make you not have any days that suck, right? But if you wake up and you're not feeling crappy and you stay crappy, then that's something that you can work on. Because you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, right? And then you decided to continue your day, and it became, you started stacking one thing on top of another, and your whole day turns crappy. That's something that you can work on. That's something that you can reconfigure, because you're starting to work on your mindset when you start to make commitments like this. And you have to look for patterns, and hopefully if you have any honest people in your life, they'll help you identify patterns too. If you have people, we look for that, right? You show up on time every single day. That's a pattern, and we want to continue that pattern. You start showing up late, we see that and we identify that pattern. Hopefully we can make that adjustment before it becomes a problem, right? Because patterns lead to they're pro one way or the other. So when I look at a pattern, I look at it leads to progress or problem, okay? So I want you to be identifying patterns, and when you start to do your year in review, that's what this is going to do for you. Looking at the year in review is going to help you identify patterns. Maybe you met 3 people at the same place that you started dating, and none of those worked out to anything. They didn't materialize into an actual relationship that was beneficial to you or the other person. That's called a pattern. And remember, patterns are pro. They lead to pro. Patterns lead to pro. So problem or progress. So you have to start identifying the problem. So when you look back at this year, I want you to take this next week and do that. And the opportunity is in this next week. If you're trying to get ahead, like my business will grow exponentially year in year out, because we don't sit back. And it could be easy. Like I could have said, let's close down. Christmas Eve, businesses are closing down. A lot of businesses are open, and then when you look at the scoreboard and you look at the businesses that are growing exponentially versus the ones that are not, they're looking at those small little opportunities. It's that extra day of practice. When you look at an Olympic athlete versus an athlete that attempted but never made it there, you have to look at what do they do differently. You take somebody like a Michael Phelps that swam 7 days a week for 365 days a year, when most the average swimmer, maybe if they're trying to get into the Olympic level, might get in the pool 6 days a week, but at least taking Sunday off, right? That's just what you're supposed to do. So what happened? Well, over the course of a year, that's 52 weeks, that's 52 days of additional training, of advantage, of opportunity that Michael Phelps was able to capitalize on. So when you look at even having your business open on Christmas Eve, we had 2 tremendous days of business on Christmas Eve, and we had a shorter day. We're not maniacal about it. We had a shorter day, and everybody got to get out, get home, do what they had to do with their family. But being open on that day, and as I was working around, and I visited all the salons on that day, and as I worked around town, I'm seeing businesses shut down, people close. But I'm looking at okay, that's an opportunity right there. Just like these next days, it's like the day after Christmas, you're open, you're cranking, your business is moving. That's an opportunity for you not to take the day off. When you look at those days and you look at that time period as opportunities, you understand why some people get ahead and some people don't. So I want you to be looking at those opportunities, and as you look at that, that's how you're going to build momentum. That's how you're going to build muscle. That's how you're going to build momentum that you're going to carry over from 2014. You're going to carry it right into 2015. And that's how you're going to make 2015 huge. So I want you to be thinking about that. And as you're building that momentum, and as you're going from one year, you're moving into the next year, the plans then you can start. Now, okay, now that I look at the year in review, I know what I'm taking with me. I know who I can count on, what I can count on, what I'm going to count out. And now I'm ready to start making my plans to make this year a huge year for me. Or if not, it's going to be a repeat, right? And that'll be, to me, that'll be a crushing defeat. To me, if I don't see double-digit growth in my business year over year, it's going to be a crushing defeat for me. Because we've been averaging 25-30% growth year over year every year we've been in existence, because my mindset is I'm looking at how do we move the ball down the field every single day, every single play. And that's something that's got to be at the forefront. Your ball on your field, whatever it is, if you own a business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you don't own a business, you just work in a place, if you're just, you're thinking about if it's your business, if it's your family. We talk about rolling with the D, hacking the Bob, hacking the business of beauty. What are we doing? Hacking. We're deconstruct, reconstruct. We're figuring out how things work and figuring out how we can make it better, how we can become more efficient, how we can become more dangerous, how we can get more out of this game that we're playing, and this game is called life. So what that looks like is not taking downs off, knowing you might get beat on some plays. You're human. Remember, there's always going to be the H element. The human element is always going to exist. You're going to wake up. If you stub your toe, or the richest person in the world, whether it be Bill Gates or whoever, they stub their toe, it's not because they're at this level and a higher level than you are, that their stubbing of the toe is going to feel less of a stub, okay? The H element exists. The human element exists. So they're still gonna be in the same amount of pain if it happens in the same way, maybe more. So know that, right? So you have the human element does exist, but the difference in those people, when you start to look at those top performers, and here's the thing, feeding the mind, feeding the brain, studying successful people, which is a big part of what I do on a regular basis. I love to consume because I want to learn. The clues are in the teachings. The clues exist. And if you're like, I'm not gonna, I don't want to study. What do you think Michael Jordan did on his days off? You think he was sitting around, like sucking his thumb? No, he was studying. Okay, my next opponent, the person I'm gonna be guarding, the person that's the team that I'm playing, studying their moves, studying their plays, studying his past performance. Looking at how he could become quicker. Watching the moves that he did, watching game tapes. That's why he was at a whole nother level than anybody else. Because he was looking for those opportunities, those moments, those pockets of time when he knows other people, they took the day off, they took that play off. He was there studying and learning and figuring, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I can make that better. This is how I'm going to take my game to the next level. And that's the same thing that you can do. That's the same thing that your team can do. That's the same thing that anyone can do. Being able to study that and being able to find like what is going to help me get to the next level. So those are things that I want you guys to be thinking about. Those are things that I want you guys to be working on as we start to move into this 2015 year, because I know that you want this year to be huge for you. I know that you want this year to be bigger than last year, or else don't even start it. Like, what's the point of even going into 2015? Oh, I'm going to have another, year like I did last year. No, you don't want to have the same year you had last year, right? You want it to be bigger. You want it to be better. You want to grow. And there's only two options. You're either growing or you're dying. We talked a lot about that in one of the previous episodes about your opportunity to grow versus, your other choice is dying. So as you start to look at this year, that's what I want you guys to be thinking about. What am I going to do? First, what did I do? Then, what am I going to do? And when you have that, that's kind of like the foundation for a great plan. That's the foundation for knowing where you are. And you have to be honest, though. You got to be totally honest. You can't be like, well, because when when it's just you, when it's just you in front of your mirror and you're looking in the mirror, you're looking at yourself, like honesty is only the best policy when you use it. So I don't want to hear honesty is the best policy when you use it. Now, when you're in the mirror and no one else is around, there's no escaping it. That's when you look in the mirror and you're like, you know what? out of the past 365 days, how many days did you show up 120%? Is it 300? Is it 200? Because without a doubt what that answer is. And I can't answer that for you. I know for myself, I didn't show up 365 days because as I look at my entire plan that I set last year, every few months I'm looking at the plan, I start to see, I make adjustments, I see where I'm coming up short. And that's just being honest with myself. I know I didn't peak out. I know I didn't hit true potential. I know I didn't hit full stride. I'm working on this stuff just like you guys are. But I'm hoping to be able to kind of be that extra added push, that extra added voice, that extra added, motivation, irritation, inspiration. I told you I'm an irritational speaker because I believe irritation actually makes you do something. Me, if I'm over here, yeah, rah, 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 everything's going to be great, and I'm blowing a bunch of smoke up your butt, then you're going to be like, okay, you're going to get all excited, and as soon as you're done listening to the podcast, as soon as you're done watching the video, nothing's going to change. But if I can irritate you a little bit where you're like, you know what? I was half-assing it. I didn't put my all into it. I did work 5 days a week because that's what my job told me to work 5 days a week. But even in those 5 days a week, I showed up 50% of the time, not all in. I didn't put 50% all in every time. So now you're working a 2.5 day week versus a 5 day week. If you're quite honest with yourself, I called out for this or that. You gotta be honest with yourself, right? That's number one. Once you get to that point where you're looking at this progress report and you're looking at this honestly, that's a breakthrough right there, because there's 7 billion people on the planet. People walking around BSing themselves on how great they are, what they're doing. That's not easy. That's not hard to find. That's not easy. If you think about it, there's a lot of that going around. You go out and you talk to people and you start to get, and that's, my life's work is people, right? I work on people. Yeah, I'm building businesses, but what do all those businesses have in common? The H element, the human element, the people process. So I'm constantly studying people and looking into people's eyes and listening to what they say and then watching what they do. And a lot of people, they tell themselves a lot, but they're not showing it, right? It's a lot of tell but no show. And that's just the way it is. So when you start getting real with yourself and you start looking yourself in the mirror and be like, you know what, I'm BSing myself. Yeah, I'm saying this, I'm saying that, but I'm not really showing it. Behavior, right? Where does that live? Where does that behavior live? And we talked about this in a previous episode. What you say you want shows up in conversation, but the actual behavior is what really shows up. The end results really come through when you start to look at the behavior of choice, right? Because you're like, oh, I want to be successful. I want to be financially free. I want to be physically fit. But then you go and order, you go to the drive-thru and order the food out the window, the fast food. And you show up with the fast food in your life. You say this, but then your behavior is where you choose what you choose. And that's really what you get, the end result. Saying you want to be in shape and then actually not working out doesn't equal in shape. But people will say anything because it sounds good. So you've got to be honest with yourself. What are you saying to yourself that sounds good, but then you don't back it up with any action? You don't back it up with the right behavior. You don't back it up with the right plan because you haven't even thought about a plan. So take this next 5 days. Reflect first. Be honest with yourself. Where did you come up short? Where did you hit the mark? How many days did you show up? How many days were you physically there? But how many days were you physically there with the emotion, with the intensity, with the energy, with the enthusiasm with the electricity. In our company, we call it the 4 E's. You got to have the 4 E's: electricity, enthusiasm, energy. Energy, right? So think about we just take those three right there: electricity, enthusiasm, energy, and then excitement about whatever it is you're gonna do. About whatever it is you're gonna do. Maybe you're showing up to sweep the floor at a place, but you show up with the 4 E's. Guess what? You're gonna have fun doing it. You're going to have fun doing it. You're going to get more out of it. So you got to be honest with yourself. Number one, you got to do that review. Number two, take this time. Look for the opportunity. While everyone's sitting back, coasting out, waiting, just planning. I can't wait to, New Year's Eve so I can get wasted. That's all they're looking forward to. This is your opportunity to get right with your mindset, to take your time. Do this as an individual. Then if you have your family involved, get your family involved. Do this as a family. Do this as a group effort. So I want you to be thinking. That's all I want you to be thinking about as you move into it. And then start making those plans for the new year. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. I hope this helps you out, and I hope this gives you the right mindset to take these next 5 days, take these next 120 hours that we all have. We all have it. I don't want to hear any crap. I don't have enough time. I don't have this. I don't have it. We all have the 5 days. Today's December 26, 2014. What are you going to do December 27th, December 28th, December 29th, December 30th, December 31st to give yourself an advantage, to build momentum that's going to carry you into 2015, to make 2015 the best year you've ever had? That's what I want you to be thinking about. Take time to reflect. Get yourself in a quiet place. Start putting those things down on paper, pen to paper. Not just thinking about it. And then start charting after you take an honest look at this past year. Now take an honest, these are some of the things. And think about those 5 areas. Think about your physical self. Think about your spiritual being. Think about your financial situation. Think about your professional goals. Think about your personal life. What are some of the big things that you want to accomplish? Narrow it down in those areas. Get clear on a couple of big things that are going to make a huge impact for you and your family and your business. And those are the kinds of things that you're ready to commit to in 2015. Not putting down, I want to do this because it sounds good. Forget all that sounds good stuff. What's going to really make a difference in your life? And that's the things that I want you to be thinking about over these next 5 days as we get ready to roll into 2015. We've got some exciting things coming, so make sure you stay in touch with us. Make sure you're staying in tune with what's going on with Rolling with the D. Exciting things coming out of there. My book will be coming out the first of the year. You can find out more information about that on the website. Make sure you're staying in tune on the blog. If you're on the podcast, make sure you're sharing this content with other entrepreneurs, other beauty industry professionals, and maybe you're not in the beauty industry, and we're not excluding anyone. This is an inclusive show. This is an inclusive podcast. This is an inclusive environment. So share this with anyone you think might be able to use, a little checkup from the neck up, a little mindset maintenance, a little mind exercise. Share this with them if you love them, if you care about them, if you want to irritate them a little bit, get this information to them. I thank you guys for being here. I thank you for tuning into the show. Thank you for the support. Thank you for your comments. I love reading those. If you're on YouTube watching this, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can leave comments and I can read them and I can interact with you. That would be great. All of our content and our resources you can find on the website, thesalon1, that's the number 1.net. Make sure you're there so you can stay in touch. Exciting things coming. Talk to you guys next week. We'll be riding right into 2015, full steam ahead, ready to tear it up, ready to make the 2015 a huge year for myself, for my family, for my business, for my team, and I know you're ready to do the same. So I thank you guys for listening to Rolling with the D. I'm Sunny D. Can't wait to see you guys on this coming Monday. And I know one thing, if you can hear my voice, you can see my face, however you're consuming this, I know if you are in range of my voice that you still have greatness in you. And as the chairman of this movement, my mission is to help you unleash that greatness and get everything out of life you deserve. So I thank you guys for tuning in, and I can't wait to talk to you guys next week. Until then, this is Sunny D signing off. You've been rolling with the D. Have a great weekend and be safe. Thanks, guys.